Hey YouTube, Kevin Cleary here with a first impressions video on this knife. This is the Hogue X5. This is a new blade for 2016, and so I was able to pick this one up and have been really checking it out a little bit. I haven't had it long enough to do a full review yet, but I wanted to throw a first impressions video out there while I've got some time. First off, let me show you what it ships with, and then we'll switch over and look at some of the features on this very quickly. This one, by the way, this is available in a number of variations. It can be black, satin, a number of different handle colors, including a blue that's really sharp, but only available in 3.5-inch blades. If you want the 4-inch, which I did, that wasn't an option. Anyway, this one happens to be, of course, the tan, or maybe it's a coyote tan or something like that, with the Damascus inserts and a black coated blade. Now, let me show you first off what it ships with. This is the new Hogue box. If you haven't gotten a Hogue recently, you may be interested in that. It does ship with this sticker, which is kind of a nice touch, and we'll leave the sticker there for the video since it doesn't interfere in any way. But one more thing I'll show you is it does come in this very nice knife bag, and this is actually a pretty nice one. I've gotten lots of these bags from different companies, but this one I really find well done. It also, of course, comes with an extra clip for the pocket, or an extra pocket clip. Like you're used to seeing with, say, a cold steel knife, because if I flip this over, you can see how the clip has to be angled a little bit to follow the profile of the knife, and so it wouldn't work to try and switch this clip over to the other side. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. Now, talk about the features of the knife itself. Aluminum handle, G10 inserts, parkerized coating on the handle, which I really like. There are some of the black ones, and some of the other colors are anodized aluminum. Anodized aluminum is fine, but I find the parkerized handles, like what I had from Freeman Freeman Outdoor Gear, I guess is the full name of the company. That finish tends to hold up really well. It's just a little more durable in my experience than anodized aluminum. Of course, 4-inch, just under 4-inch actually, coated blade with CPM 154. So very, very nice steel on that. And it is nice to see Hogue switching to a little better steel. Same chemical composition, but powdered metallurgy instead of non. So really nice upgrade, and I hope that Hogue switches their other models to this steel as well. That would be a nice change to see. Very quickly, I'll give you the size and weight on this. Overall, this blade is about 9¼ inches, just like a 1/16 over. So really, technically it's 9 5/16, but may as well say 9¼ The blade is literally 1/16 of an inch less than 4 inches, so 3 15/16. The handle is just under, again, 5.5 inches, so 5 17/16. So I know that's a lot of 16ths there, but those are the actual measurements. So rather than give you round numbers, I'll let you know what it really is. Lastly, the weight on this is about 5.7 ounces, and really it doesn't feel that heavy in hand, and aluminum is a fairly lightweight material. So now that we've got the specs out of the way, let's talk about some of the features really quickly. It does have these Damascus inserts, which I do like, and they are really, really grippy. Now, on the clip side, your hand doesn't make as much contact with the Damascus. Let me say this, the handle shape on this knife, even though it looks quite different, okay, is very, very comfortable, and I do appreciate that. You know, there's a number of knives out there that have a very distinctive look, and certainly this is one of them. Very Alan Elishewitz design, right? You can kind of see his fingerprints all over this, which is fine. I do like his designs, and this one is a little more out there, maybe a little bit tactical, especially in the full black. I do think that the tan tones that down just a little, and of course if you went with the blue with the satin blade, that would tone it down that much more. Still a great looking knife, I think. I will say my 6-year-old son was really, really taken with this knife. He just was like, "Daddy, that is the coolest looking knife I've ever seen. It's the best one in your collection," which I did appreciate, and sort of endears the knife to me a little bit more. We've gone over the steel, we've gone over most of the things. Let me talk a little bit about the button lock, and then we'll will give my sort of overall general take on the knife. So this is a button lock knife, and the button lock functions very well. You can see that it does drop freely, but you can also see, if I let it drop, see how it stops there? That's where the detent function sort of kicks in. So Hogue marketed this as a button lock with a strong detent, and it certainly is that, which I, by the way, really appreciate. I don't dislike button locks, but I know a lot of people have complained about the fact that button locks don't have the detent they would like to see. I don't really find that an issue. You know, my thing is, as I've often said, is when I flip the knife open, does it come open? And all the button locks I've had do function that way quite nicely. But this does have a pretty stiff detent, which does make the blade deploy with some authority. And that's really, really nice. So you've got a comfortable blade that flips really hard, great useful blade shape. By the way, there is another variant of this blade shape, and out of curiosity I was tempted to go with it, but it was just a little too out there for me, a little too angular. And that is, again, a very Elishewitz blade shape. You can see that blade shape on some of his custom knives, or similar things happening on some of his custom knives. I went with the, I don't know, drop point or almost spear point. It is, you know, I guess technically a spear point, the point should be down here just a little bit more. So whatever one you want to label this is fine by me. I will say it's a nice thin blade. So what you have here, and here's really my overall impression on this knife. You've got a knife that looks very different and in fact does some things a little different, but this knife is able to implement those variations or those innovations in a package that, although it looks really, really different and has some interesting styling choices, is actually very functional. So it's comfortable in hand. The blade shape is very useful and really sort of friendly to a lot of the EDC tasks that I need a knife for. And so, yeah, it's one of those knives, and I tend to appreciate knives that have that kind of different look where they're offering something a little bit interesting and compelling, but are still able to function, right? You can go so far with being interesting and different that you stop making a knife that still works well. And those we would normally call art knives. But this really, really is able to have sort of a very creative, artistic flair, as I think you can see there, but also function really, really well. All right, so there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we will talk to you soon. Look forward, by the way, to the full review on this knife where I'll explain a little better how they achieved that detent.